In a world where remasters and remake dominate all. In a year. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that the whole time. Hi, hello. This is the Video Game Town Hall podcast. A podcast ostensibly about video games, but sometimes other shenanigans, like gay hockey. I'm your host and the mayor of Video Game Town, Jared Russo, and here to discuss a year chock full of ports and re-releases and old games coming back with a fresh coat of paint is the one and only, the engine, the steam engine behind the running train that is the website, Video Game Town. Grant Bruner!
A tale of soul and steel, eternally. Soul Calibur!
Soul Calibur!
I'm Grant Bruner. I am the editor-in-chief of Video Game Town.
Soul Calibur!
And we will get into it, but I have Soul Calibur. Your intro reminded me of Soul Calibur, but I also have additional Soul Calibur to talk about. So we will get into it later in the podcast. Yes, exactly. My soul is burning, so look forward to that.
Yeah, we, just to start, we usually mention this. We are on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Blue Sky, we're on TikTok and Instagram, and Patreon. So if you want to check out our patreon.com/videogametown, we're there. You can support us if you want. There's some exclusive written material. There is a monthly bonus exclusive podcast. There are some polls. There's all sorts of fun
have
updates.
Input on what we do. Like, hey, like, what do we stream? Or, like, recently we've had some input on, what we do on the Patreon podcast. So, like, yeah, the various tiers do various things. So, also is an easy way to remember, if you just go to videogame.town/donate, that takes you to the page where you can get our Patreon, our Ko-fi, which is how you, if you don't want to subscribe monthly or whatever, you can just throw us a couple bucks. And then also, you have links to review our podcast. So if you just go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a nice 5-star rating, that would be appreciated. And that's free. All it takes is a couple minutes of your time, and $0 of your dollars. So any of those ways that you could possibly support us, we would appreciate immensely.
And considering that we've had our best stretch of weeks in terms of website traffic and viewership and listenership, I'm going to assume that from now for a good bit, there might be new fans, new listeners, new viewers, new readers. Yeah. So come one, come all. Tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and what you would like to see us cover or ramble about. Because boy, oh boy, I would love nothing more than to not have to think about a topic and just do like a reader mailbag section. Oh my god, that's the dream.
The dream that none of us are prepared for, Jared. What are we, speaking of topics, what's our first topic of the day?
So the first topic of the day, I hope you did a little bit of prep for this, because I sure did. I was looking at the calendar 2026 in terms of releases. We've already discussed a lot of games that could be coming out that we're excited about, and that you're really only excited about a few games, but that's fine. And I realized, I noticed, there are a lot of games that are remakes or big remasters of older titles coming, and that the industry is very much using that as a crutch. Not only because it's easy, I guess it's smart in some cases. It keeps old or newish IPs alive. It teaches new developers how to work in the current engines. It's an easy sales pitch. Hey, this game is a little bit cheaper. It's something you love already. You've already played it. Now it's back in 4K. Maybe the controls are better. And there are a ton of them. And it seems like the industry is really relying upon mostly single-player games of old instead of making new ones, because everything now has to be live service.
Everything's expensive and takes forever. So, the only way they can actually ship games, get them out the fucking door, is to be like, well, okay, what if we start with a game that already shipped? And then we just tweaked it some.
Already designed, already has, the assets and the template, and, we already know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I wrote down a long list of the things that are coming, I would say, within the next 18 months, more or less.
Yeah, and I think I have things to say about the majority of them. Although, not all of them. I think some of them are just I guess.
And then after that, we will get into the ones that we want to see being made.
Yeah.
So I'll start with, there is a Witcher 1 remake coming.
Did you ever play The Witcher 1?
No, I have played The Witcher 2, though.
I have not beat beaten the first Witcher game, but I did play it. And it is pretty different from Witcher 2 and Witcher 3. I think Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 are pretty coherent with each other.
Yeah.
I think they they mostly flow together. I think that they perfect things get better in The Witcher 3, even though you might say Witcher 2 is more ambitious in terms of like whole sections of the game that you don't see unless you completely replay everything, which is cool. Witcher 1 is much more of a traditional CRPG. It's very finicky, which is like Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 are pretty finicky. Witcher 1 is extremely finicky regarding like combat. It's also way hornier, and it's a pretty horny series. Way hornier in like a less fun way, in like a you're collecting naked women, like you literally have like you're like literally objectifying women. You're making the women into objects to collect. It's not rad. It's a series that gets better with time. I've done other podcasts and talked to other people. There's like a non-trivial amount of people who, even in The Witcher 3, which is better about it, are still pretty grossed out with how like Witcher 3 treats some of its women characters, which is like fair. Like, yeah, if that is going to like, if that is off-putting, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time with that game, with that series too. So, but rethinking The Witcher 1 to be more coherent and less gross, I think you can be horny and not gross. I'm not saying you can't have a horny Witcher 1. But don't be gross about it. Like, don't be icky about it. Be way more chill than The Witcher 1 is, which has zero chill, I would say.
It's really simple. You simply collect Gwent cards. That's an easy swap. You put in some extra.
You collect
Gwent,
dick pics.
And you just have Yennefer show up with a unicorn, and maybe there's a bathtub involved. Just leave it to the imagination. You know?
Yennefer is not in that first game. I don't think she's in the second game. I think she doesn't show up until the third game.
I know the second game has Triss.
The first game has Triss, too.
Yeah. I know that, like, reading the books, she's in them early.
Triss is like a main fucking character in the games in a way that she is not in the books. Like, she exists in the books.
Yeah.
But she's not a main character. Yennefer is, like hugely a main character, and in the games...
Yep.
Yennefer barely exists until the third one. Like, she's mentioned, but yeah, it's weird. There's also been a lot of talk about Witcher 3 DLC, which I think is fucking buck wild.
That's bananas. 10 years later, like, what is this, World of Warcraft?
I would love for it to be true, honestly. Like, it's not like what the fuck does that look like? I don't know, but sure, fuck it.
I've heard it's true. I heard it's like a big desert area. It's coming out. They said May? I mean, if those reports and rumors are to be believed. So yeah, it's an old, crusty, old school, like, C RPG, and this would obviously be, like, in a new Unreal 5 engine, more like The Witcher 3. So that's one big one. A couple smaller ones. Tomb Raider 1 is getting a big polish because they're doing a new game, and they're gonna obviously do the Capcom remake an old one, do a new one, remake an old one, do a new one, sort of pattern they do with Resident Evil. They're going to do that with Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I would say I'm modestly interested in that. Like, I really like the later Tomb Raider games, and I have like a little bit of nostalgia for the old games, but like those old games control like ass,
real rough.
So like I guess I feel like remaking the game would require a lot of effort to the point where it's like, is this even like I guess this is kind of a remake, but it just almost seems like you have to make a whole new game for it to be a proper remake and not just a remaster, which they already did. Like, they remastered those games. It feels like you have to do a lot of work on the first Tomb Raider because like it's a pretty primitive game.
I definitely think that N64 PS1 era, man, most of those games you can't go back to. There is just something about, like, the controls and the camera that make things like GoldenEye unplayable, or, like, Perfect Dark unplayable, or Tomb Raider 1 unplayable. And it is, like, crazy to me that they were, like, the most popular games. And as soon as, like, you get 2 analog sticks, people figured it out instantly, and it was like, oh, Halo figured it out, we're moving on.
Like, I wouldn't say instantly. I think that if you play a bunch of like PS2 games, you're gonna be like, oh, this is pretty clunky. They still hadn't figured out a lot of stuff. Like, dude, even things like what buttons are reload. There's that during that like the PS2 GameCube. Like, there's lots of they have not figured out how a controller should like how you should play a game in a 3D space on a controller. Like, definitely things get better. Like, the controls are better. But think about, Jared, even think about the Wind Waker on the GameCube, a lovely game. It is a game that has like reversed camera controls that you cannot uninvert.
That's true, but I would not call that game unplayable. And I would also argue that in 2002, we had Ratchet and Clank 1, and that game, as far as I'm concerned, I was like, oh, cameras figured out, controls are figured out, strafing, platforming, double jumping, lock-on shooting, free aim shooting, like, this is, like, you know what I mean? Like, the first-person shooter was Halo, and, like, the third-person shooter was like, oh, like, I can play games now. Whereas before,
I guess, but Halo
like,
didn't even have aim-down sights yet. So, like, it's, like, definitely better. Like, for sure, it's better.
You had zoom in. Like, in a sniper rifle, you could zoom in.
It's not the same, though, Jared.
You didn't need aim-down sights. Anyways, speaking of Halo 1, there's a Halo 1 remaster of the campaign. I'll mention some very quick ones. Yakuza Kiwami 3.
Fuck yeah.
There's another Dragon Quest. There's a bunch of Dragon Quests in the works.
Well, I played the demo for Dragon Quest 7.
Oh.
Good. I think I think that if you're a Dragon Quest fan, you're going to have a good time. I think that it is like, Dragon Quest is like the JRPG. It is the most like pure version of what a JRPG is. Here's what I will say. I think that the decision, because they're remaking like a PS1 game. It's a game from like the year 2000. I think that the decision to do a somewhat, like, a little bit chibi-fied is smart, in the same way that like Nintendo has decided to do, like, when they're doing like a chibi art style for like the 2D Zeldas when they remake them. I think it's like a broadly a smart idea. I think the art decisions are uglier with Dragon Quest than it is with Zelda. I think broadly things are pretty cute in the Zelda games, like when they redid Link's Awakening. I think the faces in particular are pretty fucking ugly. I think that it gave me exactly what I expected, and like little more and little less. I think it will be well liked. I think if you have affection for the franchise, you're going to have an excellent time. I don't think that it is going to convert literally anybody. If you don't already like Dragon Quest, it's not going to convert you. But I think that based on what I played in the demo, it's like, yep, they made a good, if a little bit odd looking, a remake. It isn't identical. It's not a remaster. They're making decisions, and there are definitely people who are diehard Dragon Quest people who could list like all the differences and like, wow, they're making all these decisions, and most of the time they're going to be like, oh, I much prefer the way they did it in the year 2000. But I think that broadly it's a good game, and you can try it yourself. Like, go download the demo. I played it on Switch too. And I think that it's like a pretty solid game. And if you like JRPGs, you're probably gonna like it. It's a JRPG. It's like the JRPG.
Yeah, a lot of chibi art, like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, like that. That was like a chibi-fied little fat chode looking Pokemon characters or whatever. But then,
which is fascinating because they got all the way away from it for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because the base game is very chibi-fied. Like those characters walking around in original Final Fantasy VII are extremely chibi-fied.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Final Fantasy, I mean, there's like the whole HD 2D thing, but also like Final Fantasy Part 3, 7 remake, whatever. There's Tales games being remade, Dynasty Warriors being remade. Not an RPG, but Fatal Frame is coming back. But then, Grant, then there's Ubisoft.
Yeah.
There are some big games that are allegedly in the works. And we'll see which of these come out.
And some that are just straightforwardly in the works.
Apparently, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is coming It already has a name, details, a list of changes.
That has been pretty heavily rumored for a while now. Like, it would be surprising if that is not still in the works. People have been talking about it very seriously for a while.
Then there's the confirmed Prince of Persia: Sands of Time that had rebooted development, which looked awful. Because
it initially was going to ship at like the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the response was so terrible they were like, actually, never mind. Because it would like, that was such an important game, and if they totally fucked it, that would like reset the clock. We're not going to get new Prince of Persia for decades if they fuck this thing up.
They gave us an amazing Metroidvania Prince of Persia and a really cool roguelike, and they didn't sell. And I don't even get me started. Then there's the Splinter Cell thing, which was like rumored, then confirmed. Now it's dead. Then it came back. And what the? I love Splinter Cell. What the fuck are you doing, Ubisoft?
I do think that I don't think that. Let me put it this way. I would be very surprised if they were going to make a real deal, proper new Splinter Cell. It would make sense for them to like do a proper remaster of those like PS2 era games.
Yeah, they're a little stiff.
Like, just give it a little love. Like, give it some love. Make it run on modern hardware. I don't think that you have to spend a ton of money. Like, I don't think that you need to remake them. I think if you gave them like a really nice remaster, that would be enough.
Well, they're all backwards compatible on Xbox and other platforms, especially in the modern ones. They're playable.
But they're not on Switch, they're not on PlayStation, which are, like, pretty major.
But they're on Steam.
Are they on Steam?
I think so.
Are they playable? But that's the thing. It's like, sometimes things exist and are purchasable, but to get them to work properly, it's like, well, download a bunch of these mods. Like,
listen,
another thing on this list is New Vegas. And New Vegas on Windows is a fucking disaster. Like, you have to run third-party shit, or it is going to be a fucking nightmare.
We'll get to Bethesda. Briefly, it seems like every single Splinter Cell is on Steam, highly rated. Seems like you can play those games, but they're all playable on Xbox from the first to Conviction and Blacklist. Yeah, they're little. They're little.
Put them on Switch. You could put it on Switch.
They're a little rough around the edges, and you could definitely, like the instant you're spotted, checkpoint over, redo half the level. Like, I mean, you can give them a little bit of love. But yes, okay. So now we have to get to the elephant in the room. There is a chasm between the popularity of Fallout with the new show and the increase in sales, and 76 is getting better, and people playing those old games, and the lust for a new remaster of 3 or New Vegas that doesn't crash, and it looks better, and it has all the DLC. And then on the other side of the chasm is Microsoft being like, money? Todd Howard, get the fuck out of the way. Let another team work on this if it's not already being worked on.
What do you probably get an Obsidian style redo with like of 3, right? That's
they gave us Oblivion.
That's what I'm saying.
How long does it take to do? I don't know. Why is a new game not being worked on at this current moment? Where the fuck is Elder Scrolls 6? Who's running the ship? What is going on? Who has control of the steering wheel? What Redfall and Arcane? My brain flames on the side of my face, Grant.
Well, I think so. I think the biggest like frustration point for me is that Microsoft being weirdly like too hands off in ways is that like they spent a fuckload of money to get Bethesda, and then they bought Obsidian, and then they didn't immediately put Obsidian on a Fallout New Vegas sequel. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I understand, like, hey, the people at Obsidian, they wanted to do other things, and obviously, like, they have continued to make stuff.
They've made like 7 games since Starfield came. Like, they pump out great games.
What are we doing? Why? You own the 2 things. What the fuck are we doing?
So the timelines were off. Like, they were working on Outer Worlds, which came out on PlayStation. Obviously, now everything comes out on PlayStation. But it was a weird time because they were working on other things like Avowed and Pentiment and Grounded, now Grounded 2. I would imagine that if they wanted to return to Fallout and not more Outer Worlds or more Avowed stuff, they would be working on it now, and it would come out in a couple of years. I know that one of the original creators of Fallout went back. Like, I don't know who's calling the shots.
Yeah, I think like you have the thing, like you have everything available to you. I think it would be nice. I do say I love Pentiment, so like I'm really glad that exists. I mean, also it's all worth mentioning, like Microsoft is under boycott by BDS, yada yada yada, etc. etc. But yeah, no, I think that like it's a huge bummer. I also do want to like want to go back really quickly about Ubisoft. I think that I was reading that like they're going back to those the Far Cry 3 port, because they did it for like the last gen, like PS4, Xbox One, and they're going to have like run at 60 frames per second on modern hardware. I think that's pretty wild.
Where is Far Cry 7?
I don't know. I've been very checked out on Far Cry. I feel like I was pretty checked out, and then Far Cry 5 was like, oh, Montana. I'm like, Montana sounds cool. And then I played Far Cry 5 and I was like, ugh, no thank you.
5,
so I just have...
not great. 6 was a huge disappointment. Well, that was a big letdown for me.
Yeah, so I would say that I'm pretty much all the way out. I will say, how come Rayman Origins is not available on the PS5 and the Switch? Why? I booted up a copy, and it's so good. Why aren't those games available? And surely it's straightforward, right? Like, I'm not saying anything is, like, easy, but in terms of, like, everything you could possibly develop, that is you put in a relatively low amount of money, and you ship that, and surely that just continues to make you a little bit of money forever, right?
I've heard a lot of, not excuses, I've heard a lot of reasons about why, either technically, emulation-wise, license-wise, just complicated legal mumbo-jumbo that so many games can never return. And I just hear it and I just go, like, people are just leaving money on the table for not even bothering to try? And it seems like the alternative is what, you make Concord? Like, give me a break, you know?
Jared, I played Rayman Origins today, and it was fucking awesome.
All time.
I'm not even like Mr. Side Scroller. I'm not like an enormous platformer person. So like, you know, something like a Mario has to come around for me to like even register, or like an Astrobot or something. But those 2D Rayman games, like kind of like whatever, I don't really care about those 3D, the original Rayman games.
Oh, no one does.
And I especially don't care about the Rabbids. But those 2D Rayman games are just incredible. So good.
They're unbelievable. They absolutely made the new Super Mario Brothers games that were coming out during that era look like dog shit. That's how good they were.
I mean, certainly, especially from a visual perspective, such incredible art.
I would say from every perspective, like the co-op, night and day, like the innovation in like level design and like platforming challenge and fun. They were asleep at the wheel for those like new Super Mario Brothers Wii and Wii U and Luigi Deluxe or whatever the fuck.
Hey, take it easy on my guy Luigi.
It's not Luigi's fault. It's the lazy devs. No.
Or like really like confused, like execs of like, what is Mario? And I feel like so much of the 2010s, like a huge like portion of the 2010s was like they didn't really know what the fuck to do with Mario. And in fairness, like then shipped Odyssey, which is incredible. So it ended up okay.
Let's get into a list of games that we would like to either be remade or remastered or reimagined in some way. I went through a lot of the older articles on Video Game Town because I had written about this. So there were a lot of old licensed games and midway games and all sorts of things. So I can sort of like speed through those because I've written about them before. But is there one standout in your mind that you're like, with a bullet, has to be? What's number one?
I mean, it's extremely obvious and
Is it?
has been a nightmare. Go ahead.
For you, there's an obvious one?
Yeah, very extremely obvious.
And we all know you're going to say Bloodborne!
No, but like
what?
KOTOR, like it's such a layup, Jared. It is such a layup. It's such a layup, and yet here we are.
Oh man, I have bad news for anyone who's looking for a new Star Wars game to play this year. I don't think there's any coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, there have been like some amount of rumoring about not only is the KOTOR remake still alive under Saber, under one of the studios that Saber owns, but there was like over the winter break there was some like and they also want to do KOTOR 2, and I'm like, hey man, let's figure out KOTOR 1 first.
Yeah,
and then we can talk about. Let's figure out shipping this game and making sure it doesn't suck ass, and then we can think about the next game, which mind you, a game I love, a game that I am very passionate about, KOTOR 2. But yeah, no, like, come on, that would be nuts. What's your like the number one? Is it Bloodborne? Like, kind of a boring answer, but sure.
It's Bloodborne. Let me go back to Star Wars. Let me go on a miniature rant.
Okay.
So not only does Disney colossally fuck up Star Wars in a myriad of ways that different camps of people online don't even agree with how or why it got messed up, but everyone just agrees in general that it got messed up along the way.
Yeah.
And then to come out and announce the David Cage Star Wars game with like a really cool CG trailer and literally nothing else because there was nothing else and they were quote unquote recruiting. How fucking hard is it to recruit talent? Everyone is getting laid off. There should be tons of people available to be hired at studios. You need a CG trailer to recruit?
It was when did that come out? That was before all of the layoffs.
Hey man, I don't know. I don't think you're like desperately looking to hire people. There's lots of qualified people who are out there. And then apparently that game was like, no, it's not real. It was Fugazi. Then to do it again with a new KOTOR that was just announced weeks ago. And then they're like, yeah, we just made the studio a few months ago, hoping to get it out by 2030. And then to tell us that there's a KOTOR... all of Star Wars is so beyond believably fucked up for such a valuable, like, money-making machine. They did the Galactic Racer. And what did they do, Grant? CG trailer and nothing else. Why am I to believe that's real?
The other thing that I have heard people complain about is that it's like not even lore accurate, which I think is a funny thing to complain about, but it's like,
yeah, really.
They're just mixing like any old fucking thing, like pod racers and speeders and any old fucking like whatever. And it's like, it kind of like ruins the pitch of pod racers though, right? Is that they're like uniquely fucked up and hard to drive.
Which also, in and of itself, is it's like Quidditch. It's like a sport that doesn't make sense with the rules that are...
But Episode 1 Pod Racer is maybe the best racing game on the N64. It's so good.
Diddy Kong Racing?
I mean, Diddy Kong's pretty good. I'm certainly not hating on Diddy Kong.
Yeah. No, all the good racers were PS1 and 2. Alright, so that's my miniature rant on Star Wars. I don't think those games are real. They're never coming out. Whoever's fumbling the bag, please take a long walk off a short pier. Yeah, my number one is Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne makes sense. But also, like, the frustrating thing is that, like, they so obviously could deliver the baseline version of just, like, it runs at 60 frames per second solidly.
That's all people want.
And like, it runs very slow. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, and it's 4K, but just, like, hey, it runs at a slightly higher resolution with, like, some, like, hey, it has better, like, anti-aliasing, and it runs at 60 frames per second. Here you go. And people would be like, sign me up, $70, yep. I will pay for this right now.
Yeah. No, that's all people want. They want the frame rate uncapped, or you can cap it at 60 or whatever. And they just like want like the load times to be lower, because there were very long load times on PS4. You could absolutely make more quality
little
of
tiny
changes.
Things. Yeah. Like really small things, like, hey, the shadows are slightly cleaner. Hey, there's less pixel. Like, there are things that just kind of like, when you remaster the thing, or there's small, tiny things that are just basically free when you are running on higher end hardware.
But to do a Demon Souls with Bluepoint and not immediately get Miyazaki sign off, I know he wants to be a part of it, but that's never going to happen. Sony owns it. They should just be like, hey, like, you don't have to farm for blood vials or quicksilver bullets. You can like fast travel between the lamppost and not have to go back to the hub. Like just like little, like there's like one famous door that like should have been open to lead from one area to another that's like locked. That like you could just, you know what I mean? Like they're just like all these like smart little things.
It's a PS6 launch game, right?
Dude, I have no faith that they're ever gonna listen. I just don't think they care. The powers that be.
Here's one that I think is like pretty straightforward and like doesn't need. I definitely don't want a remake, but I do very much would love a loving remaster. Is Sam and Max Hit the Road, the LucasArts adventure game? So the Tim Schafer games got the loving affection of remasters from Double Fine. So we're talking about Day of the Tentacle, we're talking about Full Throttle, we're talking about Grim Fandango. But Tim Schafer only wanted to do the ones that like he was kind of like a creative lead on, like that he didn't want to do other people's stuff. I would love for the Sam and Max LucasArts adventure game to get those style of remasters, which is to say, if you want to play the classic game with the classic sounds and the classic visuals, you can play it here, easy peasy. You can buy it on Steam. It runs in ScumVM. You can do it. It's not very expensive. But what I want is them to do like hand drawn HD art, remaster the sound effects, remaster the voice acting, all that stuff, and which just means like remixing. Not doesn't mean like, hey, you re-record all of the sounds. It's you take the original files, like or the original tapes, because I'm sure they're recorded on tape or whatever. You do a high quality version of it, clean it up. I'll offer that as an option. I don't need a full remake, but God, I would love a remaster.
Are there not mods on PC for this?
I don't think so.
No
but
ROM hacks?
But like the thing is, like when Double Fine remastered those games, they were doing a bunch of like work by like high end artists work by hand. So like, yeah, could you apply filters to the original game? Sure, you can, but it's not the same as having a development team like lovingly remastering a game. And then also they have like quality of life things. They also have like in the Double Fine ones where they have like commentary tracks, which is awesome. Like that's awesome to have commentary throughout a game that you like know like the back of your hand. Like I can play that game easy peasy from start to finish over and over and over again. But then having things where like you have the original developers talking about what it was like to actually make this thing or make this puzzle or whatever, like I think is radical. It would be a thing that I would love and would buy immediately.
Speaking of old PC games, I'm now thinking of like, I know they did System Shock and System Shock 2. I wonder how those play on a console, which leads me to, are they gonna get Deus Ex correct? Are they gonna nail Deus Ex?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Like, I would assume not. The initial stuff that they showed, people made a bunch of frowny faces, and then they were like, okay, we'll work on it.
My next one, there's a whole lot of weird, like, already completed remasters that Nintendo has done, and they're just, like, sitting on their shelf, and they just look at it and they go, meh. And it's like, why not give us the HD Wind Waker Twilight Princess? Why not give us Metroid Prime 2 and 3? Why not give us that China-exclusive HD Mario Galaxy thing that they did? Like, there's so many things that they must have that are just completed, and they just don't feel like porting it to Switch, and that boggles my mind.
Or it's like under glass. It's like breaking case of emergency. Like if we get a bunch of bad shit happen to us, like if people are really mad at us, what are things we can just press the button and release immediately that will make people happy?
I mean, there was that report that like their holiday didn't go as well as they planned, and there was some anonymous exec, whether you want to believe this or not, high up that was like there wasn't a big game that like captured people's attention. It was like a Pokemon spinoff, and like Donkey Kong came out, and that's never going to do as well as Mario, and like there just like wasn't a compelling case to buy this console because there wasn't a big thing. There wasn't a big Mario, there wasn't a big Zelda, there wasn't a big Kirby, there wasn't a big something. Like Kirby Air Riders doesn't count. And I wonder, like, or would they quickly do some of the 3DS games that like never got a proper like Mario 3D Land, Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, Link Between World. Like there's so many games that they could do that to.
For sure. Like, it would be great if some of those games, like 3DS, sure, but even the DS games, like the DS was like wildly successful, and there are games that are just locked on that hardware. Like, they don't exist at all. Like Nintendo has completely forgotten about like Nintendogs.
Medios. Oh, Nintendogs,
Medios.
Yeah. Medios.
Like, what are we doing? Why? Like, Nintendogs is such a layup. It's a thing that lets you show off all of your hardware for your thing. Why don't you just make every single time you make hardware? Why don't you make a Nintendogs? Like, I can't understand what their disconnect is.
They're so weird. I mean, bring back like old Wii Sports. You could bring back old Mario sports games. I would love. You could bring back old Pokemons and just give them a, the sort of like Let's Go treatment. God, I'm thinking of so many things that they could just straight up port to their GameCube. Like Epic Yarn, like on the Wii, like that can't, Super Paper Mario from the Wii. Like, there's so many games. Well, a lot of old WarioWares. Oh my god, this just makes me mad.
Yeah, it's kind of like, to some extent, it's confusing. I would love a return to the Wario games, or if they gave the Wario games, like those Game Boy games, like if they gave them a lot of love, that would be wonderful.
Are you talking about WarioWare or the platformers?
The platformers.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Which I feel like they don't, and like they've kind of like pretend like those games don't exist.
I feel like if you really wanted to play them, they're on such old hardware that, like, you could very easily emulate them and have a great time.
Sure.
I feel like one or two of them are on Switch NSO.
I want to say only the Game Boy Advance one?
I think that's one of the one that's not, and that was, like, people's favorites. Or there was one on the Wii that looked great. It was, like, anime style. Shake It Up or something like that? Shake It Off? No, it's Taylor Swift. All right. Are there any other games that you would love to make a big return?
I think that there are, like, you could probably make a good argument that if they gave really loving remasters to a lot of, like, the classic CRPGs, and I don't necessarily even mean, like they, like, I don't want them to do, like, here's Fallout 1 and 2 in 3D like Fallout 3. I think that would be a bad idea. But I do think that if they redid those games and like had like better voice acting and like you had all of these things, you had like all of the lines are voiced and stuff like that. Like, I think that it would be great and people would be happy about it, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Are you referring to Gauntlet, Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate, like stuff like that?
They did. So there is a team of people, I think they are mostly former BioWare people, who did like very light remasters of like the Baldur's Gate games. I do, and like they are very light remasters of like Icewind Dale and those things where it's like you're having it looks slightly better, it runs slightly better. There's some quality of life stuff. I would like it to be more like a remake, or like Planescape Torment. Like if you could remake Planescape Torment, I think it would be nice, because there's just a bunch of those games that are that feel very esoteric and are hard to convince people to play, but there's a lot of like really awesome stuff in there that people are just like, there's a bunch of people who love Fallout who have never and will never play Fallout 1 and 2.
Yeah, me. So
it's like, why wouldn't you try to do something to get to like unlock that content for more people? If you're Todd, if you're the T-Dog.
Fucking Todd.
Why wouldn't you do that?
It just works. Are there anything left on your list? Because I need to go rapid fire through these honorable mentions before
we... Go for it.
All right, just go for it. Okay. A lot of PS2 action-y, shootery things. Mercenaries, Metal Arms, Glitch in the System, Def Jam, those fighting games are sort of gone. Any Lord of the Rings game, those games are awesome. Any Transformers game, a lot of those were really good. You can play Arctic Thunder and Hydro Thunder on modern consoles, I think. PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy, I love the sequel to that. The Grid, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, they just made a third game and they never gave us 1 or 2 again. Those are like unplayable. That's really fucked up. any licensed Simpsons game, Road Rage, Hit and Run, the movie game, like, where the fuck are those? The PS2 Mortal Kombat and Shaolin Monks, I will continue to yell about. We need those back in our lives. A big reimagining of Dino Crisis, Silent Hill 1 and 3, and any Resident Evil that is probably being worked on, like Code Veronica. I think
they're doing Silent Hill 1, right? Like, that's the thing that they're already working on.
Is that a rumor?
Maybe, but like I
trust. Of course, yeah.
They're probably going to do Silent Hill 1.
All right, yeah. I know Remedy's making Max Payne 1 and 2. I'm sure there will be more Metal Gear Deltas or Gammas or whatever the fuck they want to call those. Maybe you do 1, maybe you do 2. Maybe
Give me Metal Gear Solid 4 off of the PlayStation 3. Yeah. What the fuck are we doing?
That and PT. It's interesting that you brought up the DS games because the Castlevanias from DS and Game Boy Advance were in really cool collections that did the whole 2-screen thing where you can sort of like pick and choose like where you wanted the dual screens to be on your television. So I want more Castlevanias. I want the old ones. I want the new ones. I want reimaginings of them. Symphony of the Night. Just give me all Castlevanias. Old God of War games, the Sly Cooper trilogy, and old PS2 Ratchet and Clank games. Man, oh man, would I just put those in a new engine? I will pay you hundreds of dollars.
Where is Feel the Magic?
Where is Feel the Magic XXXY?
I really liked that. It was so stylish.
Elite
and it's
agents.
It's like, I don't know, it's like a 3 or 4 out of 10 horny, which is to say, it's not that horny. It's a little teeny tiny horny.
Yeah.
But it's like what a cool little minigame collection. And like, what happened to the let's do cool weird stuff, which was so common on like Nintendo handhelds, like the WarioWares or whatever, of like, here's cool experimental stuff to take advantage of the hardware. Give me a Feel the Magic remake.
Sure. And I'll conclude by saying we need, I want to be able to play really old sports titles, like old hockey games or old Maddens. I know licensing. Old racing games like Auto Modelista or Full Auto. There's a ton of old racing games that are lost to time. Give me like a new Burnout 3 remake or Revenge. And then the like Hulk Incredible Destruction and like the Wolverine.
The GameCube game.
Yeah, and then the Wolverine PS3 game that was with the movie that people say was good, like stuff like that. Like,
I thought you were gonna say the like the PS2 GameCube Wolverine game, which sucks shit.
No. X-Men Legends, those are good.
Okay, for sure, people love those games.
Yeah. And then any Final Fantasy that people want to glaze over, like, give the FF7 remake treatment to 9 or 10 or whatever, like, sure.
I mean, I think 10 is absolutely their next. That's the thing that, I mean, Final Fantasy 9 has been, like, rumored for a long time and kind of like, oh, this is on the back burner, but, like, eventually, I'm not even saying right away, but I'm saying, like, having recently booted up 10, I'm like, oh, there's no way that this is not Git. Something that they're not going to do, because they have done like remasters. They put it out on the PS4 era, they put it out on Switch and Xbox and stuff, but like they're going to do something with that eventually. They're going to get around to we're going to cycle back around to like 1999 2000. People posted on forums they need their stoic becaped man as their avatar. They're like you have to do it. It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen.
So that's it. That's every game that's ever come out that we would like to return. And Grant, have you been playing any games recently?
I have. So not one of the things that I already talked about was Dragon Quest 7. I had played the demo of that. I think it was pretty good. We had talked about Soul Calibur 3.
Calibur 3.
The PS2 game it's like $10 on PlayStation 5. I played a lot of that. It was kind of like it's interesting, and I would say it's more ambitious than Soul Calibur 2, but it was like kind of a late era PS2 game that I feel like it was also, I want to say, if I remember correctly, and I could be mistaken, like it came out on the PS2, no other consoles, and it came out before it ever came into, I don't even know if they ever released an arcade version of that game.
I believe everything you said is correct.
And so that was like really weird, because it was very much an arcade first series, and people were like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Little did they know that it would be a series that the releases would be hard to come by. So like I had never really put any significant time into 3, and so I bought 3 because it was relatively cheap, and I played some of that, and I'm like, yeah, this is like a weird fucked up 2. Like it's like 2 in many ways, but then that you have like create a character, which would become more prominent in future releases and stuff. It's cool and weird, and like it's especially because I played so much 2 and I didn't play 3. All of these years later, playing 3 is a little bit weird.
Yeah, fascinating history with that game. Like 1 is huge, 2 is huge, 3 was like they had no budget or time, and you're like, what? Who are these characters?
But it's pretty ambitious. Like considering things like there's a lot of stuff happening.
But then 4 came back with the Star Wars characters.
And that was
they did it again with 5, and you're like, everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? And then 6 had like Geralt. So I don't know what's going on.
5 was kind of a catastrophe. Yeah. It's a like I can't even like think of anything because like, they also did like weird free to play stuff at the end of the life of like the PS3. I don't even think it came out on the Xbox, but there was like a free to play that was based on Soul Calibur 5, like a free to play game. It was all fucked up. Namco was trying a bunch of stuff and none of it worked.
Yeah. Dude, don't even get me started on Harada leaving and Tekken and the whole thing is ridiculous.
But also I wanted to just give kind of like quick shout outs. Things have been rough in the world. And I've been feeling a little bit disoriented and stuff. And so I want to just chill stuff, and I've been revisiting Arcade Paradise. I've been playing it on the Switch 2 in handheld mode, and I have just been having a really great time. I wrote about it very early on in the site's lifetime, but I kind of wanted to just give a shout out to like some of the things that I found really soothing is like the like day-to-day maintenance stuff, like, oh, you gotta do laundry, oh, you gotta fix broken machines, oh, you gotta pick up trash, and that stuff's cool. But it's also like a game that has a bunch of arcade style games in it. Like it has racers, and it has like puzzle games, and like it has like a really neat like kind of like RPG match 3 thing here. It's pretty neat. Like I don't know if did you ever touch Arcade Paradise?
No.
It's such a cool thing that it's like it's like a management sim, but also has it has like kind of an absurd amount, like it's like 20, 25, like actual, like they made like old timey arcade games to play in that game, that have like goals, like hey, can you hit this score? They have like a fake like a digital air hockey thing. Like there's it's a game that has a bunch of like full-fledged games inside of it, and I just I can't recommend it anymore. Like it's such a neat thing that really, like, it's a really calming, relaxing thing for me to go back to, and I just wanted to give like a huge shout out to Arcade Paradise. It's such a great game.
Why did my brain go to Frog Fractions, which has other weird games inside of it?
Yeah, but that's like a weird meta thing.
Yeah.
Not the same.
No, nothing will ever be Frog Fractions. I played a couple of things over the last 2 weeks, and I plan on writing about all of them. So I'll briefly mention SpongeBob SquarePants: Titans of the Tide might be the best SpongeBob game ever made.
Does it have the Ice Spice song?
No, that's for the movie.
Boo! Make SpongeBob do a TikTok dance to the Ice Spice song.
So I'm gonna write a review on that. That game, I don't know how kids are gonna get through it. It's like really not complicated, but it's like very in depth, like character changing, like all sorts of like really cool platforming stuff is in that game. And then I'm gonna write an article on some of the disappointing games I've played recently. Hell Is Us is an odd experiment, and a lot of stuff doesn't land. And I will get more into that as I play more of it. But it's not a great Souls-like for the combat, and a lot of the like that as a head scratcher. The other thing I think is not worth the money is Terminator 2 D No Fate.
Yeah, you had talked about that last week.
I know, but I'm putting up a post of like disappointing games I played, and it's like Metroid Prime 4, and there's a couple others that I just think are just like, what? Who? Head scratchers. Head scratchers is how I will phrase that. So that's all I've been playing. So yeah.
Counter argument: maybe just watch Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the greatest action movie ever made, and something I watched every day when I was a child.
That's too often. Like, I love the Terminator. I am a huge Terminator fan. That's every day is too often to watch the Terminator.
I love that. I have that VHS console.
That is a every year or so rewatch. That is not an everyday rewatcher.
Well, I was a kid, you know. I didn't have a lot going on. All right, let's end the show, Grant. This is a good one. Where can people find our work?
It's the easiest thing to remember. We just go to videogame.town. It has all of the cool stuff we do. It has our posts, but it also has all our social media stuff. You just click the little icons. You can go to our Instagram, our YouTube, our Twitch, our Blue Sky. You can listen to the podcast, find the podcast wherever you like. Obviously you're listening to it now, but maybe you're listening to it on our website. You can subscribe to the feed and have it delivered automatically to your phone. Or if you're watching it on, this also goes up to YouTube. You might be listening to it that way too. That's fine. If you prefer to listen to it that way, that's all great. But you could also have it just automatically delivered to your phone.
On a silver plate. Spotify. Right to your doorstep.
And kind of like whatever app you like.
Hands-free delivery.
I like Overcast.
Overcast is great.
To it is however you like. Definitely do that. And then, of course, videogame.town/donate if you want to support us.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Maybe with a special guest. Who knows?
Bye-bye.
That's called a tease in the business. Bye-bye.